This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore.
Of all the fringe figures on the right who have been mainstreamed, the most dangerous of these is Alex Jones. And it looks like finally, he is seeing some consequence in the courts. It appears as though several companies associated with Alex Jones, his companies, are filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Now, I hope that this is just not a ploy by him, a strategy to shield assets from the parents of the Sandy Hook massacre, who rightly deserve their compensation for the damage done by Alex Jones. I hope that a court will see fit that he pays what he owes. And not just to creditors in the traditional sense, but people who have sued him for harassment. Over a decade now of harassment. I'm going to read from this New York Times article. Alex Jones's InfoWars files for bankruptcy. The conspiracy theorist and his companies are facing lawsuits over his false claims about the Sandy Hook school shooting. 3 companies affiliated with the far-right broadcaster and conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, among them the media outlet InfoWars, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on Sunday in the U.S. bankruptcy courts for the Southern District of Texas, according to court documents. InfoWars is facing multiple defamation lawsuits from families of victims of the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, which Mr. Jones has claimed was a hoax. 2 other companies connected to Mr. Jones, IW Health and Prison Planet TV, also filed for bankruptcy protection on Sunday. Now, the reason they are suing him is because not just that he is a pernicious liar and grifter and charlatan, but that he sicked through his broadcast by posting their addresses, the families, and then his nutty audience, his dangerous and unhinged audience would show up at their houses, would threaten them, would call them, literal death threats. And this is all because of Alex Jones. Last September, Mr. Jones lost 2 defamation lawsuits filed in Texas by victims' families because he failed to provide requested information to the courts. Months later, in a case representing the families of 8 others killed in the shooting, a Connecticut judge ruled that Mr. Jones was liable by default because he had refused to turn over documents ordered by the courts, including financial records. The rulings delivered sweeping victories to the families. And then to talk about what I just mentioned, about what he does and what he has done to put these families in harm's way. These families who have already suffered an unimaginable tragedy, losing their kindergartner, their first grader. And he dispatches his audience to harass them. Mr. Jones, for years, spread bogus theories that the shooting that killed 20 first graders and 6 educators in Newtown, Connecticut, was part of a government-led plot to confiscate Americans' firearms, and the victims' families were actors in the scheme. Because of the falsehoods, families of the victims have found themselves routinely accosted by those who believe the false claims. Among those are the parents of Noah Posner, who have moved nearly 10 times since the shooting and live in hiding. Even today, they live in hiding. And again, look, how many guns have been confiscated? If the government wants to do it, why do they need the pretext of murdering dozens of people? In trials, and this is where I am worried about the strategy here to shield assets. In trials scheduled to begin this month in Texas, juries will determine how much Mr. Jones must pay the family in damages. The Connecticut case in the last scheduled trial set to begin on September 1st. So a jury is going to award damages. And by filing for Chapter 11 to reorganize his companies, I'm hoping a judge will see through the subterfuge and not allow him to not pay what is rightfully owed to the families that he has harassed and tortured for this past decade. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Do not forget that this is the man, this vile, sinister character is the man Donald Trump appeared with and said, "I hope I'll make you proud."
So I wrote a book called Crippled America. It's doing fantastic business. I don't know if you can see that thing right up there.
We can.
But it's doing great business. I hope your audience goes out and buys it as Christmas gifts and everything else. And I just want to finish by saying your reputation's amazing. I will not let you down. You will be very, very impressed, I hope. And I think we'll be speaking a lot, but you'll be looking at me in a year or 2 years. Let's give me a little bit of a time to run things. But a year into office, you'll be saying, wow, I remember that interview. He said he was going to do it, and he did a great job. You'll be very proud of our country.
Thick as thieves. Disgusting. If you appreciate what I do, I would ask that you consider supporting and producing what I do here. You can click the join button below this video, become a channel member for $1.99 a month. Or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. That's not just for the podcast. That absolutely supports what I do here. That would be great. Follow me on social media. I am at Dollemore. At Dollemore. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I love you guys. I'd love to see you there. I appreciate you. I'll see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.